What's up, guys? It's your boys from First State Sports Talk, back with you. I know it's been a while, but we got the emergency podcast dropping tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. A lot of you wanted this, so we agreed to do it. We know we haven't been on here in a while, but we're bringing some new content out in the coming weeks. We've just been real busy with school. Colt?
And before we start, shout out to the Sixers.
Wow, we just got back from the game. I mean,
what a game.
Embiid and Mr. Fourth Quarter, baby.
Jimmy Butler. Let me just say, we got to keep Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler for next year.
And you already know Embiid and Simmons want to stay because they've talked about it publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like Ben, I feel like, will be the kind of guy that would gladly take a cut to keep the winning mentality.
Yeah, so do I. I definitely feel that.
Obviously, he's going to need to get paid, but I feel like he's going to be more lenient.
I mean, this starting five is incredible. It's honestly probably the best in the NBA.
Let's save that for
next podcast.
For our next playoff podcast.
Yep.
That'll be coming soon. We've got the playoff podcast coming soon. We got the MLB podcast coming soon. We've got the NFL free agency takes. And finally, we have a mini podcast, which will be focused on the first major of the year in the PGA, the Masters. So you guys can look out for that stuff in the coming weeks. But hey, let's jump right into it. We're going to start with the brackets. We're going to go through the East region. We're going to go through the South region. Then we're going to hit the West and then the Midwest. And then we're going to answer the questions we got on social media. And then finally, we're going to go through all the sleepers and overrated teams in here. And we're also going to give you some good bets that you should look out for in the coming weeks for March Madness. So let's hop right into it. You ready, Colt?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, so let's hop into the East region. We'll start with the 1 seed, Duke. Go ahead. Pencil that in already. No Virginia happening this year.
Absolutely not.
Not even to Virginia.
Yeah.
So you can Duke on the first thing. And then you got VCU and UCF.
That's a tough matchup.
A very intriguing matchup.
It is.
You have Taco Fall. Man, let me just tell you, he is a big man at 7'6" that can actually move his feet. You might remember another big man that was 7'6" in Ndamukong Njai a couple years ago who played for UC Irvine. But Ndamukong Njai he was just kind of just lengthy and just couldn't move around well. Taco Fall, he's like a gazelle. He just
he's a very good player. He really is.
Glides down the floor. Yep. It makes him look so easy. So Taco Fall, a very good player. I think UCF takes this matchup.
That's exactly where I'm leaning on this. I had UCF beating VCU in a close matchup.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a dogfight, but I think UCF gets the win. Now we move on to the first 5-12 matchup. You have Mississippi State versus Liberty. What is your opinion on this game?
I have Liberty. I mean, I know 12 seeds, a lot of times are going to beat the 5 seeds, but I really can't see Liberty beating Mississippi State, so I'm going to have to go with Mississippi State on this one.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think Liberty has a shot.
Oh, they have a shot, but I just can't see it happening.
Now, see, this is one of the most intriguing years for the 5 and 12 seeds for me because I know one 5 and 12 seed that I really like. Obviously, we'll get to that in a little bit. But I would probably say that if this would be a 5 and 12 matchup, I would give Liberty about a 40% chance of winning, but I would stick with Mississippi State like you were saying. I think they're a good team. I think they have enough power to beat Liberty, so we'll see. What do you think about the 4 and 13 seed?
Virginia Tech, I think Virginia Tech is going to absolutely smoke St. Louis, and I like Virginia Tech a lot. They're an underrated team, and I think they're going to smoke St. Louis.
See, St. Louis is an intriguing team for me here because I think I don't really know why, but I just think that St. Louis always seems to shock people. I don't know what it is. Now, do they have enough to beat Virginia Tech is the problem. Because Virginia Tech, they've already proven themselves. They beat Duke earlier this year.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people like St. Louis. but I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna stick with you. I'm gonna go Virginia Tech just because I think Virginia Tech's a very proven team. So they have given me no reason to show why I shouldn't trust them.
Yeah, I like Virginia Tech a lot. They play phenomenal defense. They're a good team.
Who else do you like?
It's Maryland Belmont. That's
Maryland. Sorry,
that's a good game. That's a
it
really good
really
game.
is. Now, I wanted to go. See, I think that. See, Maryland's biggest problem for me is they can't win away from home. They just fail over and over and over again. If you look at Maryland, all of Maryland's good wins, they come at home.
Yep. And in my bracket, I actually have Belmont winning this game. I actually think Belmont's gonna do it. Belmont's gonna do it.
I'm gonna give Maryland the benefit of the doubt here. You like Belmont? I like winning. Maryland just because of the fact that their big man is so good.
Yeah, he is.
So I'm just gonna stick with Maryland on this one. I think the Terps get through this. I think it's a dogfight, but I think Maryland wins late, maybe even in overtime. Now we move on to our 3 and 14 matchup
LSU
in this bracket. LSU and Yale. If Yale was healthy, it would be a no-brainer. I would take Yale.
And let me just put this out there. For anything, I think me and you agree, we do not like LSU.
No, absolutely. And I'm going to go through here. LSU's biggest strength, they're such a good on-ball defending team, and they're so good at offensive rebound. But their biggest weakness is the turmoil surrounding Coach Will Wade. I mean, it's likely going to distract the team the whole tournament. Players going to be out after games. You don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be in different environments. It's a younger team, and they're a very poor shooting team. But they're gonna the 3-point shooting of Yale won't be enough to overcome a good on-ball defensive team and a good rebounding team in LSU in the first round.
Yeah.
So I think that yes, LSU is doomed for an early exit, but it won't be the first round exit. It might be the round of 32 exit.
Now Louisville and Minnesota. That's another good game.
Another good game.
It's a hard pick.
I would love to see the younger Paterno go in
for sure
and avenge his dad's firing.
Yep.
Do they have enough? I don't know. Louisville is a very good team that I don't think people realized earlier in the year how good this Louisville team was. Because
you're right.
I don't think they were even ranked in the top 25 coming into this year.
No, they weren't. Coming into the season,
I actually am positive they weren't. But I was actually taken back a little bit of how good Louisville was. Does Minnesota have enough? I'm going to have to say no.
That's exactly how I'm feeling.
Louisville
also.
gets through.
Louisville's going to get that win.
And it could face a challenge for this next matchup. You have the Michigan State Spartans versus Bradley. Go ahead and write it in. I know Michigan State might have had early problems in the past. They'll get through.
Yeah, for sure they'll get through.
Now we go back up. You get a Duke UCF matchup. UCF matchup. Taco Fall single-handedly will not be enough, and Duke will overpower them.
Yep.
Duke gets through this matchup again with little to no problem. Now you go. Now you go to the 5-seeded Mississippi State versus Virginia Tech.
Now this is a very hard pick game.
Personally, I think Virginia Tech sets itself up to play Duke again.
That's exactly how I'm feeling. I love Virginia Tech in this tournament, and I'm thinking that they're definitely going to get through Mississippi State in another hard matchup, but they'll get through.
Yeah, I think they sneak by Mississippi State here late maybe again. I think this is going to be a very good. I think this is a very good Eastern Division where you will see a lot of tight games, but you will also see some blowouts.
Now, what about this Maryland LSU game? These are two teams that I don't love. It's a hard pick.
That play terrible away from home. All their major losses have come mainly on the road.
This is just a tough pick. It's two teams that
don't like. I think that Maryland gets through because of what I said, all the turmoil with LSU. I don't think LSU's as good as their ranking.
Me either.
I think they're overrated.
LSU's very overrated.
They're overrated in some sense. I feel like if this with Will Wade situation wasn't going on, I feel like LSU could possibly go deep. But then again, they don't have the shooting, and it's not enough to beat Maryland. Now we go into the final round of 32 game in the Eastern Division. Louisville and Michigan State. This is a very intriguing matchup because I said many times, Michigan State has the potential to go deep, and the only way they would be knocked out early is if they were to play Louisville in an early matchup. I don't know what you think about this, but let's just say what Michigan State has going for them is they're 10-1 versus top 25 teams, and they have the ability to overcome big injuries. I mean, their biggest strength is that right there in itself. Is just being able to overcome injuries, adversity. Their biggest weakness, they turn the ball over as much as any NCAA team in the tournament, and they're missing a key guard in junior Joshua Langford.
Michigan State is also one of the most well-coached teams in the tournament too. Tom Izzo's having a phenomenal year.
I mean, it's just like at Villanova. Jay Wright is such a good coach. He's overcome so much.
That's exactly what Tom Izzo's been doing this year. That's why, and I love Michigan State in this tournament, and I think they're going to get through.
I think that if they beat Louisville, they will go at least to the Elite Eight.
Exactly. Do you have them beating Louisville?
That's a tough one.
I have them beating Louisville.
I think Louisville wins that game as an upset. But just be wary. If you're creating multiple brackets, keep an eye on that matchup. Yeah, put Michigan State through in a lot of them. But in my main bracket, I actually have Louisville beating them. But remember, if they beat Louisville, they will go to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, because they'll have no problem beating a Maryland or LSU team.
Because while they're missing their top player, Michigan State still has enough firepower from guard Cassius Washington, senior forward Kenny Goins to go all the way. I mean, those two in general right there is what's going to carry them.
Yeah.
Now we move on. Now we move on to the Sweet 16. Duke and Virginia Tech. There's no way a team not named UNC is going to beat Duke twice in the same calendar year.
Virginia Tech is a very good team. Like, they're a very good team. I think they're just going to hit the wrong matchup at the wrong time. They're going to play Duke. Just like that game. Just like the game tonight, I said it's going to be an Arizona State St. John's matchup. I actually personally love St. John's, but I know even before this game, I was telling you this at the game. Mm-hmm. They drew a bad matchup because they were the last overall team in. Yeah.
Arizona State is a very good team, and Shamari Pons by himself wasn't going to be enough to beat Arizona State. Now, that game's not over, and they could come back, but there's no way that Arizona State's going to lose to a team. It was just a bad matchup, and this is another bad matchup for a team. Now you look at it, Maryland
or Louisville, Michigan.
Maryland versus Louisville, Michigan. I think that if it's Maryland-Louisville, Maryland actually advances. If it's Maryland-Michigan State plays Duke in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, that's true. If Louisville gets through Michigan State, I think that they will go to the Elite Eight. If Michigan State gets through Louisville, I think that the winner of the Michigan State-Louisville game will go to the Elite Eight, in my opinion.
Interesting. Now we'll move down. We'll hold off on Final Four because obviously we can't or Elite Eight because we don't want to do the Elite Eight right now because we want to save that for later because those are the 8 important games or the 8 important teams. Now we'll move to the Southern Division. We'll go across the board, not down. Let's start out with the Virginia game. Go ahead and pencil that one in. Like we said, you can pretty much pencil in all of the number 1 seeds because they will win this year. Now we move right into the Ole Miss Oklahoma game. Ole Miss all the way.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
There's not a question in my mind. This is a very overrated Oklahoma team.
That's exactly what I'm feeling too.
So Ole Miss takes this one, and I think they beat them handedly. We move right into a very intriguing 5-12 matchup. Wisconsin versus Oregon. I know your opinion on this. I want you to you can take the first shot at this one because I know what you like here.
This is for sure Oregon. Oregon is a very underrated team in the tournament, and they'll beat Wisconsin
Coming off
for
8
sure.
straight wins.
Yeah, for sure they'll beat Wisconsin, and they could go far in this tournament. So I go Oregon all the way.
Oregon all the way. This is an intriguing matchup for me. This is one that I think when I create my brackets, I'm going to have trouble with. There's always 2 or 3 games that I key on every year that's trouble for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those. I don't know. I think I can see, or I think this is one of those toss-up ones, so I'm going to do whatever you think you like here.
Yeah,
so if you
I
like
gotta
Oregon,
say Oregon,
then we'll go Oregon. If you think that's the pick, then we're going Oregon.
Kansas State, UC Irvine.
Now you know this is my game here. This is the game, and
I'm with you on this one.
Love this game. So let me just give you some fun stats. Kansas State's biggest strength, they're a top 5 defensive team in the country, and they force you to turn the ball over. They make you go deep into the shot clock and take shots you don't want to shoot. You know why? You know what? UC Irvine is also a top 10 defensive team in the country, and the Anteaters are good. They're 19-1 since the turn of the year. 19-1. Now you're saying, okay, they're coming out of a not so good conference. Yeah, but they had to play some decent teams. They played Hawaii, and Hawaii also a very underrated team. Should have actually gone to the conference championship, and I believe that the Anteaters would have got in either way, even if Hawaii had beaten them in the championship. I think UC Irvine takes this one, and this is one of my favorite picks. I rarely pick 13 seed upsets. I love UC Irvine in this game. I just think that it's just they
just have the better team.
They won't score a lot of points. Kansas State already doesn't score a lot of points. They've had 3 games where they've scored under 50 points and 11 games where they've scored under 60 points. So that tells me right there, if you don't score a lot and you're playing a good defensive team, even if you're a good defensive team, that spells trouble early and often in a tournament. So I'm going convincingly UC Irvine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I still think UC Irvine gets through this matchup. Now we'll move right into the very intriguing 6-11 matchup in the South. The Villanova Wildcats versus the St. Mary's.
I have Villanova for sure winning this. I think they're another underrated team in the tournament, and I think they'll win this matchup.
I think that they were done some disservice in this bracket. I don't know how Marquette, losing 3 of their last 7 games, receives a higher seed than Villanova.
Yeah.
And they came out of the same conference where Villanova just won the Big East. They won the Big East regular season, and they won the Big East tournament. So how is that possible to give Marquette a better seed than Villanova?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I have Villanova for sure
But
winning that game.
As I say that, I would much rather be in the spot that Villanova is than Marquette.
Yeah.
We go into Purdue, Old Dominion. Keep an eye out on this one because I've been doing some research on this one, and I mean, Purdue's I don't like men. I only like one of the 3 seeds, and we'll get to that 3 seed later. But I mean, Purdue's biggest strength, Carson Edwards, point blank. The junior guard can shoot the lights out, and he's got a decent supporting role against him. But at the same time, the Boilermakers have an Achilles heel, and it's the same one that plagues the Terrapins of Maryland, and that's the ability to win away from home. They are not good away from home.
I have Purdue.
I have. I have Purdue as well. depending on how Carson Edwards can carry them, they could seek an early exit, and I mean very early exit, versus a Cincinnati team, or versus a Villanova team, or they could go all the way and try to get to Tennessee and try to beat Tennessee, because that's an intriguing matchup for me if they were to be able to get to face Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is one of the few teams that I feel like could spell a bad matchup again for a team, is Purdue, Tennessee. But it's all about getting through the first weekend. They have to get through Old Dominion, and they need to get through Notre Dame. Or Villanova, sorry. I was just looking at the girls' bracket. I think the next matchup, Cincinnati and Iowa, I think this one's pretty easy for me. What's your thoughts on this one?
What are you thinking? Because I actually don't know this one. This was one of the ones I struggled with in my bracket.
See, a lot of times on a 7-10 matchup, I always struggle because I always like the 10s. This year it's almost flipped. I like the 7-seeded Cincinnati here.
That's who I picked in my bracket. I do have Cincinnati.
Because Cincinnati is a team that hung with another 3 seed in Houston, which I think says a lot about a team. The Bearcats are good. Fran McCaffrey, though, always has a good team in Iowa. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Iowa win, but I like Cincinnati. Now we move on to the 2-15 game.
This is an easy
Tennessee,
one.
pencil them in. Don't think twice about it.
They're a monster team this year.
It just doesn't get any easier than that. Then we go to Virginia and Ole Miss. I think this is a easy one for me. I take Virginia.
That's exactly how I'm feeling. I think Virginia matches
Be wary.
I think they match up really well against Ole Miss, though.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Just
I don't like
wary.
Virginia because they always...
Be wary. Because, again, let me go into their biggest strengths and biggest weaknesses. One of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, each shooting 40% or better from beyond the arc, and they're an outstanding defensive team. But is it the same old story? Virginia's 7-6 under Tony Bennett and is yet to reach a Final Four, and has become the first overall team ever to lose to a 16 seed.
Virginia always falls apart in the tournament.
Is it the same deal? Is it Virginia that we've known to always not make it to the Final Four, to lose early? Or is Virginia for real? We leave ourselves wondering this every year. We will find out again this year. So be wary when it comes to Virginia. All right.
This is a great game.
Oregon, UC Irvine. Wow. Did you ever think you'd see a 12-13 matchup?
No, but this is going to happen, and this is a great game.
As much as I love the Anteaters,
I got Oregon.
If this is the matchup, I give it to Oregon. I think Oregon wins by 10 or 11 points over the Anteaters.
I'm telling you, don't fall asleep on Oregon.
It might be close, but hey, don't forget these two teams we say here.
For sure.
Oregon and UC Irvine.
That's happening.
One of them is getting through to the next round.
Well, remember in the last 4 years, there's been a double-digit team in the Sweet 16, so it's going to happen, and it's going to be one of them too.
Yes.
For sure.
Now we move on to a very intriguing matchup. Villanova and Purdue. Who's your pick?
I like Villanova.
I don't know why.
I like Villanova.
It's so hard to stay away from Nova because of Jay Wright.
That's exactly.
Jay Wright is the decision maker in all this. Like, if I'm going to a team, I'd take Jay Wright any day of the week.
For sure.
Jay Wright gets his players. Phil Booth is bound for a good tournament. I just think that Jelly has a good tournament too.
Yeah,
Cosby Roundtree's going to have a good tournament.
They're getting through this.
I think they're hot at the right time. How hot are they? We'll find out for sure. But again, we're telling you who we like, but we're also trying to tell you how much we like each team. We're trying to give you like a vibe on how we feel. So that's why we're kind of in the middle on some of these. But we're just going with our gut, what we feel, what we've studied. So I like Villanova. A lot of you might like Purdue out there. That pick is not from the heart. I'm a diehard Nova fan, but that pick is not from the heart because that will be the last win Villanova has in this tournament.
Yeah.
Another good matchup, Tennessee and Cincinnati. Now, if the Vols were to go early, it would be this weekend.
But they won't.
But it won't. Like you said, Tennessee gets through not only that game, but they beat Villanova in a close game.
Yep.
69-67. Tennessee takes it over Villanova in the next round.
And in this tournament, if there's one team that plays together, it's Tennessee. They play as a team better than any team in this entire tournament. So look out for them.
Absolutely. And I mean, Tennessee's biggest strength is their depth and their ability to push the tempo. They're led by Grant Williams,
Admiral Schofield.
Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Boone and Kyler Alexander. I mean,
just watch out for them.
Yes, absolutely. But their biggest weakness is the lack of ability to slow down top-tier teams in the past. They have not played. They have allowed an average of 77.5 points, I believe it is, versus top 25 teams this year. So you have to be careful. They're 3-4 versus top 25 teams. And yes, they are playing a Nova team that is ranked 25th. But I still think Tennessee gets through. Now we come to the point where it gets intriguing. Will a 12 seed really get to the Elite Eight? Or does Virginia finally flip the switch and say, no, we're for real this year?
This is the toughest matchup
I'm going to tell you something. Virginia's for real for right now. And until I see otherwise, mark them in. Virginia, honestly, Tennessee. There's talk about, Virginia's going out early. Virginia's going out early. I can see why you say that. Is it the same old story, Virginia?
I mean, do you remember if you guys remember last year, Virginia was winning in almost everyone's bracket. They would have Virginia winning and they lose to a 16 seed. So you can never rely on Virginia, but Virginia versus a 12 seed in Oregon, as much as I love Oregon, it's just going to be too hard.
Yeah.
And I think that Virginia just might have too much talent.
Absolutely. Now we move to the West Division. So, Fairleigh Dickinson, go ahead and scratch him right on out.
Gonzaga. We don't
the
even
Zags all the way in that matchup. Coast-to-coast win for them. Now we get into an intriguing matchup where I know you and I may not agree. Syracuse and Baylor. I've loved Syracuse this season until late for some reason. Syracuse has not played their best ball.
No, they really haven't. They really haven't.
And that's why I'm giving this matchup to Baylor. I know you think. I think you have other thoughts. What's your opinion on this game?
This is a tough game too, but for me, I had Syracuse. I just thought that when you look at roster-wise, I just thought that Syracuse had the better team. Just looking at it from a 8 seed versus a 9 seed, I just think Syracuse is the better team in that matchup.
I like that pick from your perspective. Now we get into another one of my favorite matchups and my favorite in the Western Division. Ja Morant and the Murray State Racers should put the league on notice. Ja Morant and Murray State Racers are for real, and they will beat Marquette.
Yeah, they will. That's it.
Ja Morant, and as I was saying, Marquette is overrated. Marquette should not be a 5 seed. They shouldn't be higher than Villanova. Ja Morant will expose them.
Yeah, I hate Marquette and Murray State. Yeah. They're such an underrated
team. And they're
a
fun team to watch as well. Florida State and Vermont. Florida State, another team, like the Terrapins of Maryland and like the Boilermakers of Purdue, have trouble winning away from home.
Mm-hmm.
Vermont, a very good overall team. Will it be enough? Again, I don't think so.
I could see it happening.
But I could see it happening.
Yeah, I could see it happening. I don't have Vermont winning this game, but I can for sure
I would give Vermont about a 35% chance of winning this game, but I'm going to have to stick with Florida State for now. Now we move on to Buffalo, and we're going to assume Arizona State. Now, if it's if this game turns out to be different, and you'll know by the time you're watching this podcast at 8 a.m. in the morning, If it's Arizona State beats Buffalo. If it's St. John's, I think Shamari Pons and St. John's, again, who have drawn a bad matchup versus Arizona State, which I don't think they have any shot of winning that game. I think that Arizona State gets through here. I think Arizona State wins tonight, and I think they win Friday versus Buffalo. What's your opinion?
With me, I think Buffalo is gonna beat Arizona State. I think that Buffalo,
don't get me wrong. I think Buffalo is a very good team.
Yeah, I think Buffalo is a very good team.
Very quiet.
Yeah, they're a good team. Nobody talks about them. And with me, I had Buffalo winning, whether it's Arizona State or St. John's.
Okay. Now we move on to Texas Tech and Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, you don't even need to talk about that. Texas Tech is for real.
Texas Tech rolls. They're the number 1 3 seed in my opinion.
Yes,
without a doubt. It's not even close. Go ahead and pencil them in right there.
Texas Tech is a very good team.
And now we get to my second favorite matchup in the Western Division. And I just don't think the Martin brothers should have stayed in Nevada.
Yeah.
They should have gone to the NBA. They should have got paid. They shouldn't have removed their names because now Cody Martin isn't going to get paid.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And neither is his brother. Cody Martin.
I honestly don't know what happened with
Caleb Martin may be a D-League product at this point. Cody Martin would be lucky to get drafted in the top 55 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, they have not played well. They've exposed themselves. And for this reason especially, Florida rolls.
And in my bracket, I also had Florida, so I completely agree with you on that. It's a tough matchup, though.
Yeah, like you said, you had actually asked me for my opinion on that one. And I told you, and after I told you that, you liked it. Michigan, Montana, go ahead. Another one. I don't see many 2 or 1 seeds losing this year.
Me either.
I don't think it's hard.
I think all the 15 and 16 teams are especially bad this year for some reason. I don't like any of them, so I think Michigan's going to win this game.
I would agree.
Pretty handily.
Now, Montana, they're in here for a reason, but Michigan's just too good. Now back up to the top of Gonzaga and Baylor. You like Syracuse. Now, hypothetically, say it's Syracuse, Gonzaga. Who do you like?
I like Gonzaga, whether it's Syracuse or Baylor. I like Gonzaga this year. I think they're a good team. I think they'll beat either Syracuse or Baylor pretty easily. What about you?
Gonzaga, exit stage left, move over for Baylor.
You think Baylor?
Gonzaga will be the first number 1 seed knocked out of this tournament.
I think Gonzaga is a good team.
Gonzaga's always been a good team, and I've always rode them to the end.
It's just like Virginia, yeah. I know what you mean.
I think they, especially after what that St. Mary's loss did, it exposed them to me.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we have Florida State and Murray State.
What a game! Who knows? I love Murray State. They are the most underrated team.
Hey,
in this
John
tournament.
Morant, you got another win in you? I think he does.
I think he does too. That's what
John Morant.
I think they're
You're going dancing in the Sweet 16,
yes,
buddy.
I think so too. Murray State. I think they will beat Florida State.
Now we go on to an intriguing matchup. You have it Buffalo, Texas Tech. I have it ASU, Texas Tech. It doesn't matter. Texas Tech rolls all day long. Texas Tech is putting the league on notice.
Yeah.
They're coming. They're trying to get to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I think we might have something for you later in this podcast.
Yeah.
Florida, Michigan. Go ahead and mark Michigan in there.
That's
Florida
what I'm saying.
has no shot versus them.
Exactly what I'm thinking.
Michigan's a title contender. It just ends too early for them because of their next matchup. Because Texas Tech is going to beat Michigan.
Texas Tech is for sure going to beat Michigan.
Now, if something unforeseen comes out of this, you got 3 people from the West that have a chance of winning it. Michigan, Gonzaga, and Texas Tech. But I think that the problem with Gonzaga is they exited too early.
Yep, that's what you
The
think.
problem with Michigan, they played the better team. It's all about catching breaks. Now, if Gonzaga can play Syracuse, it's a different story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Because then the Zags can move on. And then, if the Zags move on, then they would beat Murray State.
And in my bracket, I have Gonzaga, Murray State in the Sweet 16, and I have Gonzaga winning that and moving on. I know for you, I don't know what you're going to pick between Baylor and Murray State. I don't know where you're leaning.
I like John Morant, but I don't like him that much.
I
love John Morant. I'll put it that way. I think John Morant's a top 3 player in college basketball, easily.
Yeah.
But Baylor moves on. Baylor going to an Elite 8. Wow.
Wow, when have we ever seen that?
Yes. Then we're done that.
Yeah.
Now we go to the last side of the bracket. We go to the Midwest region. North Carolina, Iona. Iona's played some great games in the past. They've upsetted many teams, but once again, it's not happening for the 16 seeds this year. It's just not happening. That's it. Now we move on to the next matchup. Go ahead.
Utah State, Washington.
This is one of the hardest matchups to pick in the whole bracket. Let me tell you why. Washington's an intriguing team. This one's really hard for me.
It is for me too. I don't know where to go.
I keep going back and forth, but at the end of the day, it keeps leading me right on back to Washington as the 9th seed. I think Washington wins that game.
Yeah, and in my bracket, I also had Washington winning that game, so I agree with you right there. It's going to be a close matchup.
Whoever wins that game, you can exit the next round, please.
Yes, for sure.
Because you're playing the Tar Heels, and you can pencil the Tar Heels already in the Sweet 16.
For sure.
Now we move back onto the round of 64. Auburn and New Mexico State. I know you love Auburn here.
I like Auburn.
Auburn is a very good team. I'm just going to stop right here. St. John's is on a huge run right now. They're on a 10-0 run versus Arizona State. So
12-0 run.
That could make a big difference in tomorrow's outcome of this bracket. You love Auburn?
I like Auburn. I don't love Auburn. I like Auburn in this matchup.
This is another intriguing matchup. Be wary of the 5-12 matchups again. I'll take Auburn here, but I'm not writing off New Mexico State. Kansas Northeastern. Kansas, not a good team this year, especially without Legero Vic. They lost Azubuike earlier in the year.
I have Northeastern actually winning this game. I hate Kansas this year. I know next year Bill Self will be out of there for sure. But I think that Northeastern wins that game.
Wow, Bill Self. He's a goner.
What do you think?
There's no way that he's a goner with losing Azubuike and Legero Vic leaving for the year. And plus it's Bill Self. And them at Allen Fieldhouse. Obviously, this game's not played there, but if he can still win at Allen Fieldhouse and they can sell out those games, Bill Self still got himself a job. Kansas wins this game. Northeastern coming out of the CAA, not a good team.
I think Northeastern wins this.
Not a good team whatsoever. Kansas wins that game handedly. It's not even going to be close.
I think that Northeastern gets the win right there.
Now we move on. Iowa State and Ohio State. This is a very easy matchup. I hate Ohio State. They're garbage. They're not good. Iowa State wins. Iowa State actually might be my favorite team out of the Big Ten or what is it, Big 12 this year?
Yes.
Then we have Houston and Georgia State. I was surprised Georgia State actually won that game versus Georgia Southern this year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Georgia Southern would be the team representing their conference, not them. Doesn't matter anyway. Houston, a very good American Conference team. Houston takes that game.
Yeah, I have Houston for sure winning that easily.
And then you have Wofford
and Seton Hall.
Wofford, just like Buffalo, an underrated team. but Seton Hall is a Big East power conference team that I think gets the job done late, and they'll end up playing Kentucky in the second round.
Same.
You can pencil Kentucky in as well.
All right, now we'll go up to the UNC. Well, UNC is going Sweet 16, so we'll move on to
dancing on. And then the Kansas-Auburn matchup, doesn't matter who Auburn plays. Auburn beats them.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. I have Northeastern beating Kansas, but I have Auburn beating Northeastern. Yeah. So either way, Auburn will be in the Sweet 16.
But I don't like the other two.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the Iowa State and
Houston
matchup. Iowa State, I think Iowa State beats Houston. I don't know what your opinion is.
I have Iowa State beating Houston also. I don't love Houston.
I don't love any of the 3 seeds besides Texas Tech.
I just feel like Iowa State.
They're a proven team.
They really are.
So is Houston. Don't get us wrong on that. But Iowa State's the better of the 2 teams, in my opinion. And then you have Seton Hall, Kentucky. Kentucky beats Seton Hall.
That's exactly what I have.
And then Kentucky goes on and beats Iowa State.
That's exactly what I have. And then you'll have UNC and Auburn.
And it'll be UNC and Kentucky in your Elite 8 matchups. And now let's go and finish this bracket out.
Yep.
So you have Duke and Michigan State. Or no, you have Duke and Michigan State.
Yeah,
I have Duke and Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have Baylor. You have Gonzaga versus Michigan versus Texas Tech. We both have Texas Tech and Duke both winning in the Final Four.
No, but don't if Michigan State and Duke match up in the Elite 8, which I think they will. That's going to be a very tough matchup for Michigan State or for Duke. I think Michigan State plays much better as a team. I think that Duke is a monster team with so much talent, but
tell them the stat you told me earlier.
They don't play that well
in the 3-ball
as a game, as a team. And also, there's never in the history of the NCAA tournament. Well, Duke is 311th in the country in 3-point percentage, and there's never been a team under 300 in 3-point percentage to ever win the tournament. Over 300 to ever win the tournament. So, as much as I love Duke, they could lose. They're definitely beatable, and most people think they're an easy win. Duke's gonna win, but they're a very beatable team in this tournament.
And then our picks, we like Tennessee to beat Virginia, and we like UNC to beat Kentucky.
Yeah, for sure.
And I see it being UNC Texas Tech in the finals, and I think that it's a toss-up game, it's a close game, it's a dogfight. Call it what you want, but I think UNC's years finally come after losing in previous national championships in the near past. I think that UNC finally gets their chance.
Yeah, I'm with him on that. I think UNC is going to win the tournament.
Don't count out Duke. Don't count out Texas Tech. Don't count out Tennessee.
Yeah, they're all great teams.
They're all great teams, and they all have the possibility of winning.
For sure.
We're just giving us our best estimated guess of what we think could happen. That's all we can do for you guys. And
I think that UNC, though, with the experience on their team, with the way that they play together, how well they're coached, how well they play defense, I think that they're built for this tournament, and I could really see them winning this. So that's our picks.
Alrighty, now we go into the questions. I said to DM me. Some of you guys did do that, so we have questions here. The first question. Some of you guys, I have your names here. So my buddy Pat Hahn, he said, if there's a double-digit seed or two to pick to make the Sweet 16 or to go farther, who would it be and why? I'll go first on this one. So the double-digit seed to make the Sweet 16 or farther, I think that it's got to be Oregon
Or it could be UC Irvine with whatever you pick there. Both those teams have the ability to make the Sweet 16.
Absolutely, but I think that Oregon is the Sweet 16 team this year that will be a double-digit team. Honestly, I don't see many other double-digit teams.
There's not that many great ones this year.
Making the Sweet 16. I think that if you get a team like, say, Arizona State, if they somehow were to pull off an upset versus Texas Tech, which I don't see happening, you could get that there. Oh, sorry, I left one out. Sorry. My two teams would be Oregon and Murray State.
Oh, Murray. Yeah, we completely forgot about that.
I didn't see them in this.
Murray State for sure, yeah.
Murray State and Oregon would be my two teams, Pat, that I like going to the Sweet 16 as a 10 seed or higher. Murray State being a 12 seed and Oregon also being a 12 seed, I believe. Yeah, Oregon and Murray State, the most common seeds that are high like that to go through. I mean, I don't think there's anything else that could do that. Do you want to move on to the next question? Or do you agree with that?
I completely agree with you there.
A question from Harrison. What three teams have the best chance to take down Duke?
I'll say right now the best three teams to take down Duke is...
We'll go pre-championship and then in the championship. So anything on the left side.
Well, the two teams that I can definitely see taking out Duke before they get to the championship would be Michigan State first. That'll be a dogfight between them and Duke. And then I can for sure see Texas Tech beating Duke. And then in the championship, I think we both agree that we can definitely see UNC beating them.
They beat them twice. And they had Zion healthy.
Yeah.
And they only beat him by one.
On a buzzer beater.
Yeah. So, I see that happening. And to be honest with you, I could see a team like Virginia, if they played well enough, if they weren't fake, if they're real, and they have enough to get there, they could easily beat Duke.
Yeah, definitely.
But are we talking about a postseason Virginia? That's the only question. If we're talking about Virginia that's been all year, hell, they could beat anybody in this tournament. It's not even close.
Yeah.
They could easily beat anybody in this tournament. There's a reason they're a 1 seed, but they're a 1 or 2 seed every year, it feels like. And when are they going to start winning games?
You never know with them. You really never know.
If they were to somehow make it to the finals and Duke was sitting on the other side, they could absolutely take down Duke.
For sure.
Absolutely. And I actually think it matches up good for them. Because they're the best three-point shooting team of the power teams in this.
Mm-hmm.
Duke is the worst.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So
Duke is the worst.
if Virginia goes up big, Duke won't have a 3-point answer for them.
I mean, Duke. Everyone fell in love with Duke because of their athleticism, and just how they dunk the ball. Zion. I mean, they're a great team, but they can be beat for sure.
Now we'll
and they're the huge favorite to win the tournament.
Absolutely.
By the way.
We'll go with our weakest and strongest 1 seed, 2 seed, and 3 seeds. My strongest 1 seed, I'm going to stick with my gut here. And I'm going to go Duke. Where are you leaning? Are you leaning UNC?
I think Duke's the most talented team. I think UNC's the best team.
Okay, so your strongest seed, number 1 seed, is UNC. Okay, I like that. My weakest number 1 seed.
Mine's Virginia.
Mine's Gonzaga after seeing them play versus
and that makes
St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Virginia the benefit of the doubt. This will be the last year I do that if they screw me again.
Yeah, my weakest is
not
Virginia.
Not specifically me, but screw everybody. I mean, because I never bet Virginia. But
what about 2 seeds?
2 seeds. My strongest 2 seed is gonna be. It's gonna be Tennessee.
That's mine too. I love the Bulls
think
this year.
that they had a setback versus Kentucky, but then they avenged
themselves big time.
I thought Kentucky at one point was the best team in the country, and they've kind of fallen off a little bit at the end here.
And Kentucky is still a good team.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not discrediting that. Now, this is an area we disagree on. Who's your weakest 2 seed?
Who's yours?
Mine's Michigan State. I know who yours is.
Oh, mine is Michigan.
Yeah.
Mine's Michigan for sure. I don't like Michigan.
I think that Michigan, with the right breaks, like I said earlier, can go deep in this tournament. It's all about the breaks. I just don't think that Michigan State without Langford is as good as a team.
And I think Michigan State can go far in this tournament.
I'm not discrediting that. Now your strongest 3 seed. I think that's easy. Yeah, it's without a doubt, guys. Texas Tech is by far the strongest 3 seed, and I think the weakest 3 seed is who's your weakest 3 seed?
I don't love the 3 seeds this year.
I would say the 3 seeds not named Texas Tech is the weakest.
Yeah, like I hate LSU. I hate Purdue. I don't like Houston.
I mean, I would have to pick LSU.
I guess I'll pick Houston for my weakest seed. I don't know. I don't like any of the 3 seeds besides Texas Tech, so you never really know.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I was going to talk about who our sleepers are, teams that are overrated.
We kind of already talked about that.
We've kind of talked about that throughout the podcast. So we'll go into one final segment here. Colton, pull up your phone real quick, and I'm going to run through some good bets for you guys. Tomorrow, I'll give you some bets who I like by the line. If anything pops out to me Friday, I'll do the same thing. So it's coming right now. And just give me 1 second while we pull this up.
All right, Jared. So what are your 3 teams that you like for Thursday? Your 3 bets that you like for Thursday?
So for Thursday, I like Florida +3 versus Nevada. I think that Florida wins that game, as we talked about. Seton Hall, I like +2.5 over Wofford. And then obviously I like Murray State +4.5 versus Marquette. Those are the 3 games that I locked in on this week that I really think that should really do well for people if they put them in.
What about Friday? Friday's games.
So Friday's tricky. I like UCF in a pick'em, or you can take a -1 for less vig, and the same for Ole Miss. Take them in a pick'em or take a -1 for less vig. What I mean by vig is UCF is -120 to win. Ole Miss is -120 to win. You can take a -1 point for -110, which means for every 110 you lay, you can win 100. UC Irvine is the final team I like that day. I like them +6 to a Kansas State team, which I think is overrated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I mean, I think that you guys should listen to this podcast. If you've already listened to it, DM me if you have any more questions. You have until 12 o'clock. If you're looking for later bets in the tournament, feel free to contact me. We're going to be doing some free advice here for betting for a little while. We're trying to get it going here. So, I mean, it's been fun, guys. We will be back soon. Don't get us wrong. We're going to be back in the coming weeks. Like we said, new podcasts are coming soon. So be ready, guys. It's been good.
All right, guys.
Have a good one, guys.